There you are, Dad.
That was missed. Oh, next is Stranger. This is a poem that Marco wrote. And yeah, it's pretty, I like it a lot.
See if you guys like it.
I hope you do.
We are brothers. You can't beat those Santa man. You know, mine, the wheel fell off. It only had 213,000 miles on it. The wheel fell off.
An intervention in the parade. Yeah, so he just left it open. So we're going to do an intervention in the parade, by golly, and I hope you're going to join us. Because it's very exciting to me, because I'm going to be able to play Donald J. Jacko. So, but we also have the Celestials battling with the MAGA heads. It's not really a battle because, you know, the MAGA heads don't have a chance. But, you know, just like Trudy and I wanted to do something tonight, you know, this stage is marvelous. It works both ways. You guys could be out there, and we could be up here. This would give us a totally different dynamic. So I also want to point out a couple of things you might miss. James Penados is here, and he installed an exhibit up on the hill. This beautiful little gallery, and James Penados is an incredible painter. You will so much enjoy what he's doing. Yeah, it's probably old stuff because he didn't have any new stuff framed. So, but you'll enjoy it, and it's up on the hill, and it's and then there's Carl Rosenman. Carl Rosenman made a rhubarb strawberry pie for Boris the day before he died. So now what he did was make another. Carl, are you here? Yeah. Oh, here's Carl. Does everybody know Carl? He's cute. and Carl made another strawberry rhubarb pie with bananas and mangoes, I think. I don't know why he went that way, but he was just wanted to experiment. But he wants to. He would love it if we could have a procession down to Murray's altar Murray built an altar. And it's down on the path, this beautiful path. So if we could all group together and go on, this is a dream of Carl's. Yeah, he thought this would be so, and he thought I could pull it off, but I'm not going to be able to pull it off because I can't move this many people around, you know. So, yeah, Carl would love it if you would form a procession, maybe after we get off the stage. There's no schedule or anything. But if we could form a procession, because Carl put one slice of this strawberry, rhubarb, banana, mango pie down at Murray's altar. And you know what Carl asked me? He said, would the animals get sick if they eat this? He's such a caring person, you know. He doesn't want the animals to get sick. So, you know, we didn't have anything prepared for tonight. Not at all. Because we were focusing on the parade next week. So we got a good intercession plan. Stop that. And so we're going to pull up something from our past. This is something, and Boris, I feel very strongly that Boris had a cosmopolitan feeling for art. I mean, he just loved all of art. As long as it was creative, art, Boris loved it, you know, and he invited all of us to do these silly things on stage, and he was such a blessing to us. And I know for sure that his spirit is with us tonight because this is a stage that he built. So he wants to see how it turned out. And that's why we're here, all together. Okay, so some of you have existed through this show that Trudy and I are about to give to you. So please bear with us. And we'll do our best to bring about startling changes in the delivery. Okay. No, I can project. I can project. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Experimented. Experimented. I like it.
My ears are in the way. I can't take them off. I'm sorry. Oh, my beard's in the way. Everything's in the way. It is. Special for tonight. We ain't got a barrel of money, maybe we're ragged and funny, but we'll travel along singing a song side by side through all kinds of weather. What if the sky should fall? Just as long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all. Although some folks soon will be parted, we'll be the same as we've started, 'cause we'll travel along singing a song side by side.
Come on now. There. Come on. Let's go. Древняя Ниагара.
Okay, what do you say we make Carl happy?
Oh, wait.
No, first, I'm sorry. Yeah. This is the real intervention.
There it is.
I just flew in from Florida, where I was spending time with my two brothers.
Mar-a-Lago.
One brother has developmental disabilities. It's my big brother. Lived with my mother for 70 years, and now he lives on his own in assisted living. So I was going to hang out with him for a week. And just before that, I found out my youngest brother has aggressive bladder cancer. So while I was on the way to the airport, I thought, I want to write something for Boris. And then I had a thought, just an image, and I followed it. And so while I've been in Florida with my brothers, I've been working on this, which I'm sure I'll still keep, anyway, it's in progress. And I realized today, while I was sitting here listening to the beautiful music, that Boris and I had kind of a relationship like a brother I never had. So it was so special to be with my brothers during this time. And so anyway, this is called What I Would Give for a Boris Hug. Oh, wait. Question. The big drum in a symphony is called what? Timpani. Now, the singular of that ends in an O. How do you say that?
Timpano.
Timpano. Okay, let's go with that. Just put that in about 2 hours ago. What I would give for a Boris hug. I swear you grew a barrel chest to house your heart. A timpano booming through muscle, ribs, skin, down coat, or bared and hairy, inviting loved ones and strangers alike to expand like the river you loved, constant and ever-changing. A believer in flow, you accessed the edges, crested liminal spaces, overlapped borders, original lords with seasonal folk, Russians with Ukrainians, children with grizzled old, townies with farmers, artists with engineers, laborers with musicians, Jews with Gentiles, even left with white. We all soaked and exalted in your awed delight. Rooted in work and dirt and wood, you built houses, gardens, cabins, orchards, trailers, planters, stages, saunas, platforms, galleries, sheds, and barns. But most of all, you built love. Love for bubblegum paintings, alpacas and raccoons, cats and possums, dogs and chickens, a pond stubbornly dug and filled and drained and filled, coops and costumes, a family stirring lamb and rice over fire, music strummed, drummed, hummed, blown, and sung, sculptures of all sorts, none more magical than your driftwood couches upholstered with neckties. Boris and Lordville, synonymous, reinvented Alpakistan and Art Festival, carnival colored, splashed against green and brown and melting white. Boris's, a place to get a hug and meet a friend or walk alone on a winter day when clouds mirrored snow beneath my feet. Boris, you not only believed in telephone calls, but you practiced them. When your name came up with a message that you hoped we were okay, I knew it was not just a throwaway line, but for us, for me. So I'd quickly answer, responding with joy, feeling yours, and yes, difficulties only alluded to. A foundation of sorts to build upon, laced with a corny pun, a whimsical idea, and finally, the questions. Do you have any sorrel? Yes, I just dug some up. What do you know about plum trees? Only that both mine died. I just bought 50 fruit trees and berry bushes. Wow. And do you want to read some poetry? Yes, yes, and yes. So, of course, when fire ravaged our living room and firemen left the blackened building standing and soaked, a winter storm on the way, with a roof threatening to cave, I called my builder, carpenter, farmer friends, and it was Boris who stepped up to herd all the kind-hearted, strong-backed problem solvers. Of course, Boris took the lead, good-naturedly sweeping out water, tossing through a window what moments before had been loved, moving on, designing and hoisting a structure for more love.
Come on, Carl.
He, of course, got Leliana to paint it in this beautiful way. So there was that. Then he bought that green thing, you know, that green, that this spaceshipy looking thing, and he had an idea for that. So there've been a lot of those things. He did try to convince Gala to buy a Bentley, which is like a Rolls Royce. Luckily that didn't. But then he bought this huge pontoon that you normally have on lakes. And it had seats on it, like big seats on it, and a big outboard motor. And I said to him, what are you going to do with that? He said, I'm putting it in the river. I said, Boris, it's not, it can't go in the river is very shallow. It will never float. He said, no, I've got a plan. Well, what is the plan? I don't know yet. So then it was so interesting, it was probably about a week before he died. I said to him, you know, Boris, I've got to tell you something. You're great, you're amazing, but I've got to admit, you've got to admit the pontoon is a mistake. And about 3 days later, I arrived, and all the seats were off the pontoon. They'd all been taken off, right? And the outboard motor had been taken off. So it was basically just the floats, you know. And then he put this platform on. And he was giving the men who work with him instructions in Spanish. And I said to him, I wanted to talk to him. He said, I'll be a minute, which of course you know, with Boris it was going to be a minute. So 10 minutes later, I was still standing there. But I was really watching to see how he gave them the instructions on how to mount that platform. He's just such a genius at execution, you know. He really knew, he had an idea, but he also knew how to really make it work. And these guys were brilliant because they were catching on, you know. They were like in a flow, the three of them. He would say something in his terrible Spanish, even worse than mine. But they understood him, and then they did it. And he said to me what he wanted was for the 4th of July. He imagined people going down the river and there would be some kind of chanting on the raft, some kind of Tibetan chanting, you know. And it's a floating stage, basically.
But it can float on the river.
It can float because it's so light now.
Has anyone tried?
No, he just finished it. He barely finished it, and he was finishing it on the Wednesday night.
You have to be the first.
All of us. So,
And so many, many mornings, David and I would walk together with the dogs, and he'd come to Boris, and he would greet me as a different person every day. But often it was, "Oh, the chief rabbi of Lordville." and we designed this whole rabbinical school, which was really about teaching people about alpacas. It had nothing to do with Judaism or anything, but I was the rabbi. So he allowed me to feel my rabbiness. And then one year he asked me, he said he's got a job for me if I want to be an artist. And he invited me to come down. And you know, there's that thing, that sort of robot that's next to their mailbox. It says Lordville on it. With the
It was like a wood stove or something.
It's a wood stove. It's an old wood stove. So he asked me to paint it, and I did that. That is my artwork at the entrance of Lordville. And he made me feel like I was the greatest artist. He was so appreciative that the following year, it was Kamala Harris and Biden. So that's actually, my timeline is wrong. But he said, "Come and paint on the glass." And we put out those glass windows, and we spent, and I came, and when I arrived, he and Gala had prepared all the paint for me. I felt like a consummate artist, came in with the brushes, and I painted that thing, that Lordville sign, which ultimately got shot by people. I don't know if they were shot, but it was damaged by people who didn't want a Biden sign in the middle of Lordville. But it's still there. It's right there in front of their house. So whenever I see those things, I remember myself as an artist, which I'm not. But Boris allowed me to be that. And I feel like he's, I don't know why, I have no idea why what happened to him, but I feel his presence, and I feel like he's creating something magical for all of us. There is a blessing that Boris is bestowing on us here that's going to be bigger than we can even imagine. I don't know how it's going to transform.
He left the residue of him
in all of us.
And
He left the reins to us.
Yeah, and so I'm grateful, very grateful to
Well,
him.
this thing, both my parents died, and I was part of the.
Maybe it's not appropriate, but you know, his thing was, if anything happens, bury me under the bus so that people can say they threw me under the bus.
You see, you're laughing. You made a Brit laugh. It's a real Boris thing.
But it was like every time. It was just one constant joke after another, and it was just like, I'd do anything to hear him now. Really.
I hardly ever spoke to Boris, but I do remember the jokes. We always communicated that and about the Ukraine. It was like he had a presence that didn't need many words that kind of came across.
I have a great video of him, and he's sitting outside, and they just got the little chick. So I'm videoing him, and he goes, "Come with me, come and look at my new chicks. There's a lot of them. There's an harem of them." And I'm like, what's he talking about? And I go, and it's literally the thing that it keeps the chickens warm with the baby chicks. I was like, all right.
Boris used to come all the time, and on number 17 he came over to me on the last day. It was a weekend affair, and he came over to me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he says, "You know, John, you're getting too old for this. Why don't you turn it over to me?" It was such a pleasure because it was the day of the cleanup, you know, and I said, "You could start right here."
This is a continuation, actually, of it. That was a great little Mud Ball Festival.
Yeah, well, we promised when he decided to take it over, we promised him the mud ball. So we have an 8-foot diameter mud ball. It gets built up every year. and I promised it to him. But then I said, you know, Boris, what we need to do to make this really spectacular is if we'll send the mud ball down to Delaware, and your Russian guys can go in and rescue it and bring it in, and it'll be so symbolically perfect. And
That happened, right?
huh?
That happened, right? Didn't it?
No. I thought about it, and you know, I've tried to work with his Russian friends before. You know, I mean, they just, you know, the mud ball would have went down to the Chesapeake, I think.
What was it one year you were floating something down the river?
We did.
Was it a big chair or something?
Huh?
Was it a chair?
A Boris chair, yeah, a big Boris chair and a big Christina chair.
Was there a video of that?
And we took the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet, and Carl did a stunning job of mouthing it, and so Christina was on the bridge and Boris was coming down on a floating device, you know, his chair, I mean, and yeah, it was, but Boris was really disappointed. He really wanted the mud ball.
Well, I have a trailer. We could get it over here.
I have his voice. I have a message.
Oh yeah.
On the 4th of July, and honoring Boris's, you know, wishes, we're going to put prayer flags all the way from Alpakistan to Buddhistan. So there is a big container of flags arriving on Monday. So any help, please, putting them up. We're going to need it. Sorry?
When are you doing that?
On the 4th of July at 6 p.m.
That's when you're gonna put the flags.
No, the flags we want to put up before then.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, the flags we want to put up before the 4th of July, but on the 4th of July at 6 p.m., where I made this garden of remembrance in the name of his father, we're going to put up special flags there for him. And
You're going to do that on the 5th?
the 4th.
But that's going to be the official thing. But are you going to...
It's like, how you call this plant? Because it's really invasive plant. It's just from Asia somewhere.
Japanese knotweed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knotweed. Yeah.
And it's good for the bees because it's like late. This is the latest flowering season for this. It's like in September, I think, or late August. So that's good for the bees, but it's like really invasive. And it's growing so fast. It's hard to start
Mercy.
that your ways take me
He worked in California over the last year and did things there. If you were close to him, he built you something, and you have it for eternity. But he came in with the brother of my landlord, and he had definitely not showered in a week, probably not changed his clothes, hadn't shaved. You see him in his work attire, you know what he looks like. I was convinced that my landlord had hired a homeless man off the street and brought him into my apartment, and that, you know, I learned a lot over the years, but I was like, this gentleman is homeless and does not speak English. And what is he doing in my peaceful sanctuary that I have created? Because the apartment was illegal, we had to hide the stove for the appraisal. So Boris comes in, does not greet me, does not say anything, speaks in Russian, flutter of activity, must do this, deadline, blah, blah, blah. And he disconnects my stove, wheels it around to the bedroom area of my apartment, and I had shelves with beautiful knickknacks because I'm a big girl now and I have a nice apartment. And he starts plucking all these things off the shelves. He has a paint drop cloth that he drapes over the gas stove, and he starts creating a scene on this stove. So it pretends that it blends in with my apartment. I'm sorry, but obviously the gas pipes are still exposed, and there's a massive hole in the kitchen but he wanted it to look right. And I am like, what the hell is going on? And I was told I had to leave my apartment. So I took my dog and I went for a walk. And I walked and walked, and nobody called me and told me to come back. And so I came back and my door is wide open and no one is there. And I'm really pissed. And finally Boris comes back in and he's like, oh, okay, we can put things back now. And I'm like, my God, you speak English. This is amazing. And then I'm like, by the way, while you're here, you might be the handyman. My hot water doesn't work. Can you fix that? And he goes under the sink, and this is where I'm deeply embarrassed, but he just turns the hot water on. It had been turned off. And I was like, oh, great, wonderful. And my dog at the time was Nico, who we raised together for a very long time after. She runs over to him, and if you know Boris and animals, they love him, and he immediately loved her and was loving all over her, and he looks up at me and he goes, I have a dog too. And I said, oh, yes? He said, her name is Milu. She's crazy. And I said, okay. And he said, we don't live so far away. We should walk dogs together. And I was like, okay, the homeless guy must have a box at the end of the corner, and he lives there with his dog, and he's seeing a meal ticket out of this vulnerable young woman, because there's a 15-year difference between us. And I am like, yikes. But sure, because you can't say no to Boris, right? You don't say no. So my compromise was, Boris, we'll see each other in the neighborhood as we're walking dogs, and if we encounter each other, we will walk together with our dogs through the neighborhood. Boris didn't understand subtlety, so he's like, great, we'll walk dogs. He leaves, a day passes, sorry, this is a long story, but it gets better. A day passes, I am out with a girlfriend at a bar after work, because you know I'm in my late 20s and that's what you do. I'm a little drunk, I had told her about this crazy ass person I met the day before and all this stuff that happened. And we were kind of laughing about it, and my phone rings. And I look, and it's my landlord. And I answer, and he's like, Christina, my beautiful girl. That's a terrible, I'm sorry if I offended anybody with my bad accent. So he's like putting it on strong, because remember, he tried to do the matchmaking months ago. And I'm like, yes. He's like, Boris, my beautiful friend Boris, this artist, he's so sweet, so gentle. He wants to walk dogs with you, but you know, I cannot give your phone number away. I must get your permission. And I look at my girlfriend at the time, and she nods and smiles, and I was like, okay, fine, you can give this guy my phone number. I hang up, not 30 seconds later, Boris calls me. Because if there is anything, when Boris made up his mind, that was what was happening. And I picked it up, and he's like, oh, this is Boris, we walk dogs together. And I was like, yeah, I told you we could make plans. If you also know Boris, there was no plans. It was now or never, and you just did it. And I was like, yeah, we'll do it. He's like, no, we walk dogs together tonight. And I'm like, well, I'm not home. Well, how soon will you get home? And I'm like, look at my girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, I'll leave you. She's like, yeah, you gotta go. This is gonna be fun and interesting. So I left. I said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. I arrived at my house. He's there with Milo at the gate. I go upstairs and get my dog and come down. They're like, what's this going on? And I'm like, okay, strange man, let's see what we've got. So we proceed to take an hour-long evening walk through Jersey City, in which he walks me by the buildings he's renovated for friends, the buildings he's bought and made over himself, the places where folks like Norman's, who is his friend from 111, were living in an apartment that he had made that he was going to live in, but then wanted someone else who could appreciate its beauty because he had started to move upstate. He told me that he traveled the world in South America and he had these amazing friends in Israel that he did so many things with, and they went on hikes and they had adventures. And he said, I met all these alpacas and I love alpacas and my dream is to have alpacas. And he said, I really, really just want to make tiny houses. That's my other idea, my other project. He's like, I do construction now, but these are my dreams. I collect driftwood, I make furniture. And in this hour-long walk, I got the story of who Boris was. And he was telling me, I am on the hunt for a double-decker bus. This, by the way, was 17 years ago. And I'm like, oh, a double-decker bus. Yes, I must convert it into something. I must have it. This, by the way, the double-decker bus is the second bus we bought together over the years. And that one broke down, and that's a different story. And I love vintage campers, and I want to renovate them. And he just told me all of these things that he dreamed of, pets and animals that he loved and projects he wanted to make and friends he had. And I was like, this is the most remarkable human being I've ever met in my life. And I was too young to really get it then, but was almost struck dumb by this. But I reflect back on that walk and that story because I look around now and everything he told me all those years ago, he made happen. And it's like the alpacas are here, the chickens we gathered over the years, the many, many pets he rescued, the double-decker bus he renovated, the campers he renovated on the hill, the camper he renovated and turned into a house for his alpacas. If you haven't yet, he's built a tiny glass house up the hillside, and he's made furniture, and he also just wanted to make a space where people could come together and enjoy nature and enjoy their craft and their beauty and each other, and he did that too. And so I feel like so many people have been shocked that he passed, me too. It was like, but the thing I keep saying is that, and I said this at his services, Boris lived as much in a single day as we all live in weeks of our life. And he really lived to like 150 because of the amount of work that he did. And he's left so much with us. And I'm so glad you're here. And I don't even know how to wrap this up because it's fresh in my mind and I don't believe it, but he has left us so much. And while you're here, I want you to enjoy the space. There was art that he collected from his friends to display for the festival. They are in the spaces over at the house. We have a photo montage of him and his various kooky adventures in life. Donis, his friend who did the Lordville t-shirt logo, his drawings and his son's drawings are in the lower part of the big building over there. His friend Faizullah, who's a painter, his paintings are in the gallery along with Boris's furniture and other sculptures he's made. Faizullah also did part of the exterior of the house. Donis did the other part of the exterior. And then a friend and neighbor, James, has done some paintings up in the hillside yoga studio. So please walk around and enjoy it, take pictures. If anybody wants to trek to the glass house, let me know, I'll show you the way. And while we're here, we're going to eat, and I would love others to tell stories. And eventually, sort of as we progress, we'd like to walk down the river walk, which was his pride and joy and one of his most recent creations. There is an enclave over there that we call Buddhistan. We would like to do a little prayer ceremony and enjoy that. And then otherwise, please just enjoy the river and food and fellowship. And I appreciate you all, and thank you for loving him as much as I did.
My name is Pine Tree, and Boris was always so wonderful to me. And he let us play music down here and read poetry and do folk dance. And he was just imagination, the incarnation of imagination. So this is haiku for Boris. The forest calls us to make a path through the woods. Buddha sits by the trail. Alpaca, chickens, furry dog rolling around with me on the floor. Willow branches and copper pipes will be made into something magical. A staircase will be built going nowhere, and a bus of many colors. People gather here, parading, making music, art, poetry, friends. Leaving footprints on the land, what we created, and the love we make.
How do I know Boris? Well, in the millennium, I met my wife, Marcia, in Las Vegas. But okay. Anyway, 3 weeks later, I came to New York, where she lived. And the first thing she did was bring me to her art studio, which she shared with Boris in Jersey City. Boris, I saw immediately, was a very peculiar guy, you know. He had all this driftwood art, and he made a couch with neckties, and he was fixing up that whole apartment. So every time I came to New York, I met Boris, and we went out to dinner. But Boris did everything with Marcia in the work. They were the best friends in their lifetime. They did together 240 sunglass huts in the United States, which Marcia mostly made on canvas, and then Boris did the logistics for that, and they did a lot of projects, mural painting, and basically Boris was working for Marcia with, of course, his input, which we all know was very strong, and well, not always right. But in 2004, we decided that we would retire in Florida. This was, of course, very sad for Boris and also for Marcia, but I really didn't want to retire in New York, in the city. I like to be, have to have a little bit more place. Well, Boris, we rented the truck, and Boris would bring all our stuff from New York to Palm Coast in Florida, where we lived, with 2 ladies. The air conditioning of the truck wasn't working. He's not turning back and saying, I don't want this truck. He went in all that heat to Florida. Well, along the road, one of the 2 ladies says, I've had it, goodbye. And she went out. And he brought all the things and then worked with Marcia in Palm Coast in Florida, did a lot of murals for all kinds of people, did a lot of things together. Well, now a little bit more fast forward. In 2009 or 2010, he visited us with Christine. And I had a plane at that time, and they went flying with me. Christine was very nervous about it, but he loved it. And he wanted to come back on that. So that happened again this year in in January. And we went to a little place called Williston, Florida, where there is a little cafe, the Piper Cup Cafe, with an old lady who runs it. Right, of course, she fell right away in love with Boris, hugged him, and he had the clam chowder soup, an enormous bowl, which all of it he ate. So he loved it, and Christine said to me that he loved the flying. He was talking about it with everybody. And of course, my wife Marcia, she did all the work, and she has a great amount of stories. And I wish I could entice her to say at least some of them. She said she was very nervous, but maybe I can entice her, because she was such a big part of Boris' life and the other way around. And of course, as working friends. I must say that with emphasis in this case. Boris, thank you so much. We will miss you very, very much.
And a wildling soul yourself. Bora, as Kaminsky used to call him. Boru in Hebrew means blessed. Blessed indeed you were with the grandeur of your endeavors, with your relentless making, building the world around you, pulling people in. Sometimes conflicting when you felt people were unjust to you. Nevertheless, it was very hard to be angry at you. And that's what you were, a world, and one of the most solid anchors of my life. You showed me that everything is possible with quite simple tools, and that trial and error, even on a big scale, is not an issue at all. The Russian proverb of, quote, measure 7 times and cut only once did not usually apply to you. You went straight to the cutting. The first time I watched you raising a whole house, this barn over here, on some car jacks, I thought, wow, this guy will do just what he needs with whatever he has without hesitation. Once you bought huge twisted Victorian stairs that had to be brought by a truck and 12 of us had to carry it, but then ended up not fitting into your house. You were not disappointed and just said, oh, I'll sell them and I'll just install something else. Sometimes we would drive from New York or back in your van full of construction materials, your workers, guests who were coming, dogs, food, whatever you could fit. It was always an adventure and never a problem. There was crazy chaos often around you, but everything had a goal and a meaning in the end. And then came the evenings in Lordville. The tired, calm dinners, the discussions around the Kuzminski's table. You always drank tea from the biggest cup. Once we made a joke and served you tea in a teeny tiny dollhouse cup. It was a tiny joke, but it made you laugh the whole evening. I remember this as if it was yesterday. I love you. Lisa's going to come read us something as well.
How's that sound? Can you hear me? Okay. I wrote this poem when I learned the news that Boris had died. I knew I wanted to write something, and I got an image and I went with it. I think, like many people, I felt a kindred spirit immediately when I met Boris, and this is called What I Would Give for a Boris Hug. I swear you grew a barrel chest to house your heart, a kettle drum booming through muscle, ribs, skin, down coat, or bared and hairy, inviting loved ones and strangers alike to expand like the river you loved, constant and ever-changing. A believer in flow, you accessed the edges, crested liminal spaces, overlapped borders, original lords with seasonal folk, Russians with Ukrainians, children with grizzled old, townies with farmers, artists with engineers, laborers with musicians, Jews with Gentiles, even left with right. We all soaked and exalted in your awed delight. Rooted in work and dirt and wood, you built houses, gardens, cabins, orchards, trailers, planters, stages, saunas, platforms, galleries, sheds, and barns. But most of all, you built love. Love for bubblegum paintings, alpacas and raccoons, cats and possums, dogs and chickens, a pond stubbornly dug and filled and drained and filled, coops and costumes, a family stirring lamb and rice over fire, music strummed, drummed, hummed, blown, and sung, sculptures of all sorts, none more magical than your bentwood couches upholstered with neckties. Boris and Lordville, synonymous, reinvented Alpakistan, an art festival, carnival colored, splashed against green and brown and melting white. Boris's, a place to get a hug and meet a friend or walk alone on a winter day when clouds mirrored snow beneath my feet. Boris, you not only believed in telephone calls, but practiced them. When your name came up with a message that you hoped we were okay, I knew it was not just a throwaway line, but for us, for me. So I'd quickly answer, responding with joy, feeling yours, and yes, difficulties only alluded to. A foundation of sorts to build upon, laced with a corny pun, a whimsical idea, and finally, the questions. Do you have any sorrel? Yes, I just dug some up. What do you know about plum trees? Only that both mine died. I just bought 50 fruit and berry bushes. Wow. And do you want to read some poetry? Yes, yes, and yes. So, of course, when fire ravaged our home and firemen left the blackened buildings standing and soaked, a winter storm on the way with a roof threatening to cave, I called my builder, carpenter, farmer friends, and it was Boris. who stepped up to herd all the kind-hearted, strong-backed problem solvers. Of course, Boris took the lead, good-naturedly, sweeping out the water, tossing through a window what moments before had been loved, moving on, designing and hoisting a structure for more love.
Always. And it was, and he was just like, yeah, but I wanted, Boris, just tell me what you need. So Boris and I, we met, he bought this place in 2006, I believe. I bought my place in 2013. I'm right across the street from him. And I didn't have a chance to meet him some of the first weekends I was here. But I bought my house in March, but in the summer, like in early June, I walked down to the river and there he was. And I was like, okay, is that the guy who owns this place? And he was like, hey, I'm Jacob. I'm Boris. I live here. Oh, I live there. Oh, how you? Yeah. Ooh, okay. And then we kind of like just walked along. We were like looking at each other, like, who's this guy? And then he grabbed some dead grass from the side of the road and he put it up to his nose and he went, oh, my childhood. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting guy. And I was like, but I knew exactly what he meant. That smell of that sweet hay, I grew up with that. He grew up with that. And I immediately sensed that there's going to be a connection here. But we also both sensed something else. It was like, all right, there's this guy, here's this other guy, like two cocks in a chicken pen, like walking around, sizing each other up. So we were friends, like, you know, friendly neighbors for a long time, and until something happened. I don't know what it was, but we started to trust each other a bit more. And then we got even better friends, and then we started to fight, you know, like we started having some real fights, like, you know, screaming and yelling at each other. And I was like, this is getting better and better because I have 4 sisters, no brothers. And I have 1 older sister, 3 younger sisters. And in my life, it's only come close maybe once or twice that I had a really good friend that I could kind of like feel like a brother, you know, like really where you feel like it's his family brother. And I was starting to feel that with Boris, and I think Boris kind of felt that way too, because we were fighting. And then we had this thing that whenever we met, because nobody else wanted to deal with that shit, we started kvetching together. We had like 45-minute, an hour and a half fetching matches where we riled each other up like we were standing in Pakistan. And we were just at the end of our kvetching match. Until we were out of breath, we were shouting and screaming at the world. And it could be anywhere from the prices of tools in Home Depot, or the political situation, or what else was going on, you know. But it was never about anyone else. It was never about people. It was all about, like, you know, inanimate objects or, you know, political figures that don't make any sense or whatever. But one big fallout we had, and this is where I realized that I learned something about Boris which is very important. And a lot of people still don't understand it until I explain it to them. And this is very, very important to understand about Boris. If you broke some of Boris's tools, or you broke his window, or you broke his plate, he didn't give a fuck. He was like, you know, hey, shit happens, right? But Boris could get mad. And the only time he got mad is if you got in the way of his mission. And if you understood that, then you understood, okay, Boris has a big heart that's full of love, and he needs to express that. He had a really rough childhood in Ukraine. He was beat up every day coming from school because he was a young Jewish child living outside of of Kiev in a small village. He was beat up every day. He told me about this a lot, and it really left some scars in him. So he really wanted to change that in creating these spaces. So all these things you see around here are spaces where people can come and create. They can create art, they can be productive, they can create love, and this is what this festival is all about. It's all about, there's a big sign out there that says kindness, right? Be kind to one another. And Boris just was on a huge mission. Like, it's almost, modern day Jesus kind of thing for him. But he never wore it on his sleeve. He never told people directly that this is what I want to do. So if you didn't sort of fish it out through your interactions with him over the years, it took me 7 years to figure it out. Christine told me it took me 10 years to figure it out, So he didn't wear things on his sleeve like that. So you had to figure him out, But once you figured him out, you just knew that, okay, if you stay away from putting your foot in your mouth or walking into something, then it was like, okay, and you help him. If you helped him with his mission, he would without telling you why he was happy, you just see he lit up. And when I said, look, Boris, I can help you with this, I can help you, when he was doing stuff here in Pakistan, he just lit up. It was like his joy. It was like a trigger. It was like, wow, he got so happy. And so over the years, through that, and then we came to a plateau where he would be sitting in the airport and bored. He would call me. I would be doing my online classes up in my office, and I said, say, what's up, Boris? I said, well, I'm just bored at the airport. I just need someone to talk to. And we would talk, and it became more and more, and it became our little thing, and I wasn't saying to people, oh, Boris is my best friend. Boris wasn't walking around saying, oh, Jake is my best friend. Yeah, to my wife, I would say, oh, Boris said this, blah, blah, blah. Normal stuff. But we were really close at the end, and I'm going to miss him, really, because he was like a brother to me, I could trust him, he could trust me whenever he needed me for something, taking care of his chickens or animals, or he needed some tools. He's always like, Jacob, I have 5 of them, I just don't know where they are, And so you are much more organized than I am. It's, nah, that's not true, Boris. My shit is like, yeah, but you always find your stuff. I can't find my stuff. All right, so so we borrowed a lot of tools from each other, and it was like, that's how neighbors should be. There's really, very close and feel connected, and I'll tell you, I'm gonna miss the funny things. Every time Boris had to go to Binghamton, it was not Binghamton, it was, I have to go to Bimington, and I'm gonna miss hearing him say that, because that was so characteristic of his way, and his jokes. He had some of the best jokes. Not everybody got them, The one I think was the best. This is Boris. He's interested in construction and machines and stuff. And he says, the Romans, they built roads, and they have 3 ingredients that are the most important thing in building a road. And he would excitedly tell us, you know what the 3 most important things are when you build a road? And I said, no. I was like, well, the Romans even said this. And he said, number 1 is drainage. I said, you know what number 2 is? I said, rocks, stone. No, drainage. And I was like, you know what number 3 is? I said, no, drainage. I liked it. It was like, yeah, that brought it home. So about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think it was, or 7 years, I can't remember, but
to find a word, and since it's happened, I try to summarize what to say Boris, and we're telling the story about the Boris, but to me it's very personal. I can tell such beautiful stories. Christina said that I have them plenty too, but personally for me, I lost friend, and it's just fresh. And over the year, and especially last few years, we were very close. And to my view, that is difficult to find to such a different person. I don't know how many books read Boris. When I was younger, I read quite of them. I love theater, I work in opera, and I get him once to the opera, and he went, I think with Christine loved the opera, and it was Metropolitan Opera, beautiful opera, and after the performance, I asked him, so what do you think? You know what, that is two lesbians sitting next to me, and the one was touching the other one, that was so exciting. And Boris, he speak, but to be able to explain what he wants to say, I think it doesn't matter if it's English or Russian or Spanish. That was more. Gotta close the door! What did you do? And he has this fire a lot. I can fire a lot. I can have a short spark, and in so many things that we're so different. And at the same time, over the years, he calls, I call, we bitch about our love life or anything else. Well, now we can say it. Yeah, now we can say it. I thought that is, I was lucky that we like different sizes, so we never cross. He helps me. I don't have to help him, but well. It's about the friendship, and that is a friendship that I lost because I thought I'm the only one. It doesn't matter who. We usually talk once a day or twice a day, and more importantly, that is a real care about each other, and what it's called the friendship. It's built up.
Bloom, they would be full of butterflies. Not
Yeah,
there.
what's going on? And why here?
I saw the same thing because of
like
the
a
water.
swamp?
I guess. Yeah. I know the swamp this way too.
Yeah, I can't really catch them on camera.
Yeah. I understand, but I know.
And I was very upset. Like his vision's getting in the way of my vision. What's going on here? This is not too good. Anyhow.
But then you eventually compromised.
Well, in the meantime, we had many conversations. And those many conversations were incredibly instructive to me. I learned so much about what it is to co-create a vision with someone. And the fact of the matter is that this is his land. You know, he purchased this land and he had a vision for it. And I was asking him to make space for my vision in his vision. And his generosity, his unbelievable generosity in letting me do that, and David, and seeing, once he saw that we were on the same track as him, he just did everything he could to support what we were doing here.
We heard so many stories like that today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
His support to all of us was just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And You know, so I wanted to stop here because when Boris's father died, I said to him, why don't we hang some prayer flags, Tibetan prayer flags for your father? His name was Arkady. Is Elon here, or you know when Arkady died?
2 years.
2 years
2
ago.
years ago,
Yeah.
right? Three?
Three.
Now it's been 3 years.
Yeah. So we hung these flags here for Arkady. You can see them. You see they are very perished now. You know, and so and I have a photograph which I'll put online of Boris standing under these flags for his father, so joyful. He was just standing here so joyfully. Anyhow, so and then as we carry on, you'll see there's an area with a Buddha and a path for contemplation. And Boris came up with a name for this area, which was for me the most generous thing of all. When he said to me, I found a name for your area. It's called Buddhistan. Alpakistan, Buddhistan, because that was his blessing. And in some ways, you know, he was such a joker and a punster. Everything was a pun, everything was a joke. And it was such a playful thing to say that, but at the same time, it was so incredibly honoring and respectful of what we were trying to do here. And so when he called it Buddhistan, it was like, yeah, we're on the same page. And then once we were on the same page, it was just like, you know, now we're doing this together. And I've been having a feeling these last weeks, like right now, as I was watching all of you come up, and I keep on saying, oh, Boris would have loved this. Boris would have loved to have seen us all standing here. Boris would have loved to have seen...
He is experienced.
Well, that's it. You know, he is. He made this happen.
Spirit is here.
Yeah, and as a visionary, you know, he's such a visionary that I think he could see this. You know, he could see this all happening before it happened. And so I've been thinking about that, you know, that, yeah, we are the evidence of Boris's vision standing here right now.
And his love.
And his love, yeah, and his love. So I'm so grateful that you all came down here. So we'll just carry on, and I'll show you where the shrine is in the altar. I brought a few goodies for the Buddha. And if you want to find a leaf or a flower or whatever, just pick it, and we'll put it onto the shrine.
It's okay.
and joy be with you all.
So these are Tibetan Buddhist prayer flags, the wind horse flag. And you know, the basic tenet of Tibetan Buddhism is that we are all, everything is impermanent. We are impermanent, everything is impermanent. We are all born, we all get old, we're all sick, and we're all die. Every one of us. And how do we remain joyful? How do we remain joyful despite that? Or not even despite that, but in light of that. You know, what do we do? And that's what Buddhism is really all about. It's about recognizing that there is some enlightened part of all of us that continues, that is not impermanent. And it's a oneness, you know, our enlightenment is all connected. We are all interconnected in our capacities to become enlightened. And I don't think Boris was Boris wasn't an orthodox anything. In fact, he was characteristically unorthodox. He was his own person, but I think he had a tremendous affinity for this way of seeing things. You know, our Lordville sign, which says love in the middle of it, a huge sign over there right in the beginning when you walk into our Pakistan that says kindness. You know, that's what he was all about, and so that's why these flags are really here, because when the wind blows through them, you know, it blows just everywhere. It goes everywhere. And I had a lovely thing happen. I've told it before, but I'll tell it again. So I came down here one time, and there were a bunch of kids sitting here, and they were tripping on mushrooms, and I arrived, and they were like, oh, you know, are we allowed to be here? I said, oh, yeah, but trust me, you're allowed to be here. Because they had been kicked off. They tried all these different places here, and everyone kicked them off. And I said, the man whose land this is expressly wishes that you will stay here. And that's what this is for. And it was the prayer flags, because these have always been up here, and the Buddha there, that they had seen. That took it as they took that as a sign, you know, we can be here. This is a cool place for us to be. And so I would like us just to really contemplate that just for a minute or two about this man who had so much love in him and so much generosity and so much compassion and that he created this. And let's just contemplate that for a minute. Let's just meditate on that for a
I had no idea. We managed to get together a very eclectic group of people, very eclectic, that just chemically somehow this has created a little planet which should never happen in the normal world, right? But he managed to create this bubble, and the setting, of course, is like that's what I tell people, you know. And the people who I've met and deeply connected with from this community, I could call it community because we are gathering here every year since 2018. That's been like 8 years, right? And it's, of course, it's sad that the festival with the Boris being the energy around and in it and kind of ruling the whole thing, but it looks like the community that it created, sustained, attracted, magnetized, it's self-sustaining. I see it now clearly. And I wish it to keep growing. I wish the festival, or whatever the replacement is, because there have been festivals. Boris inherited the Mud Bowl Festival, which was run by John, so It's a generation after generation after generation of people who meet each other in person and exchange and grow together, you know. I don't know how it works, but it is working.
Woo! Thank you, Boris!
Thank you so much. Please offer your reflections.
Murray. But Boris, very seldom he called me just to be in the festival. I mean, he wasn't as close as you were with me as you were, you know? I mean, I wasn't his neighbor. Yeah. He calls me one morning and he says, John, you're not going to believe this. Murray's creating Buddhistan. Right here in Lordville. He was so excited.
Thank
What did you say, John? What was your response?
I was speechless.
No, you were never
speechless.
I can't believe what I'm experiencing here because I'm friends with this young man across the river. His name is Finn, Irish family. Met him at the farmer's market one day because I work on the farmer's market on Sundays. And I had so much stuff. So I was like, here, take a whole bunch of this. And then he's been telling me, you gotta meet this guy. He's crazy. He's one of you. You gotta come to this place. I was like, I'm gonna come. I just really wanted to get to this forest and just be alone for a long time. Finally, I got the chance to meet him 2 weeks ago. And I literally just finished working at the farmer's market and the car was full of stuff. So I was like, take this and take that. And he had all the stuff. And I was like, I just want you to know my spirit told you to just slow down. And he said, just make sure you're there on July 4th. I really want you there. And he gave me eggs. That I actually enjoyed eating that day and thought about him. And the young man Finn called me the other day and said, you're never going to believe this. And I was like, what's up? And he's like, Boris is not here. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, he's gone. So it's my first time at this festival. Get a chance to meet some brothers that I've known for some time, and it's really beautiful to experience the evolution of their music and how they have worked so effortlessly, and I mean so hard on, and it's come out so effortlessly, and it was really joyful to experience that. Are you a musician? I mean, I don't know, man.
City person anyway, so it's nice to see what he created out here.
Thanks. Yeah, well, thank you for that.
Did you see the eagle that just flew over?
Yeah, bald eagle just flew
The
over.
bald eagle just made a circle around
the
us.
river and climbed out.
Yeah, it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for taking this walk down to Buddhistan. In fact, the walk goes all the way down to that spit. It's a birth, old age, sickness and death from the ocean of samsara. May I free all. Thanks, everyone.
История.
Покажи эту историю. Сейчас дождь пойдет.
Прекрасно. Я все снимаю, чтобы через 20 лет посмотреть.
Нет, а я говорю, а ты сегодня без ансамбля He was
Включаешься к одной, два. Это волшебство происходит везде и всюду. Поэтому вот Толик. Вот и Толик. Толик тоже. Здорово, здорово, здорово. Мои, вот это самое, Антон, мои друзья, мой сын.
Ну ладно, сейчас снятся. Жми давай нормально.
Жми нормально.
Это называется dead fish, то, что ты даешь мне.
Ну, ладно, что это dead fish. Вот
как ты? Ну, вот он.
Да.
Ну, куда еще раз?
Толик.
Когда начинаешь про это говорить, еще хуже становится. Надо другой подход какой-то.
У меня же нет мотивации его внутри поменять.
Это Роберт. Антон.
Я вот, например, собираю черепа и выбеливаю их в пероксайде. И это, конечно, был бы офигенный экспонат в мою коллекцию, но я не возьму, потому что нам нужно будет с ним в Саниной машине ехать домой. А там и без того много.
На алтарь положи.
Это надо в пероксайд. В пероксайды выбеливать.
Тебе не серый? Ты просто пиццу просто свою любимую не сможешь.
Вот они.
Продать. Отдать. Питер мой любимый, не смогу отдать.
Я не доехал до твоего любимого.
Это чья собака?
Моя.
Твоя? Очень это кьют.
Она very smart. Иди сюда, показывай свою. Дай лапу. Лапу дай. Дай лапу. Дай лапу. Сюда сидеть. Дай лапу. Дай лапу. Дай. Другую дай. Другую лапу.
Красоточка вообще просто невероятная.
Дай лапу. Дай лапу. Другую лапу дай. Другую лапу. Другую лапу. Другую лапу.
Умная собака решила, что ты меня тут это самое.
Эксплуатирует.
Собака такая.
Очень умная собака.
Собака такая, Антон не дрессируется.
Что-то тут не так.
Кадруй.
Кадри.
Раскадри. Закадри. Кадриль.
Мне кажется, что должна быть радуга. Такой погоде.
Кадриль.
Это вот жена, видишь, вот с бородой.
Та-тайра, понимаешь, эта песня? Та-тайра, та-тайра, та-та-тайра, па-па-па-па-па-па.
Пробор, давай, пробор.
Ваня-то топлено. Тепло, пахнет.
Да, вчера, по-моему, топили. Да, сидели здесь. Еще печка горячая.
Я потопилась по воде. А можно добавить мне?
Ну, я бы спросил, я не знаю. Конечно, надо спросить.
y deja brillar el sol escondido en tu interior. Agítate porque te voy a dar, agítate porque te voy a dar, para que laves tu corazón, para que limpies tu corazón. Agítate. El canto enamorado de un pájaro, ese pájaro es mi abuelo, es mi abuelo que canta enamorado. Desde lejos oigo el canto enamorado de un pájaro. Ese pájaro es mi abuelo. Es mi abuelo que canta enamorado. Y ese pájaro es mi abuelo. Es mi abuela que canta enamorada. Canta, canta, canta. 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 Águila, 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 desde lejos